Hello, podcast world. Hi. I know it's been a while since you've seen me, and while I never promised any kind of schedule, I did not think I would go this long in between recording. But I have an explanation. There have been some things going on in my life, okay? I've been a little busy. First of all, I cut bangs, and now this hairstyle is my entire personality. So, you're welcome. Second, I was traveling for work. Chicken, don't touch that. My cat, again, is trying to knock over my tripod. I was traveling for work a couple of weeks ago, and I went up to San Jose for a few days, and it was really fun. I got to meet like all the people I work with, and if you don't know, I work remote, so I've never met anybody I work with except for the person who hired me. So it was really fun. I got to meet like some of the chiefs of our office, which was really cool. And we went to a hockey game. So that was really fun. I had a really good time, but as soon as I got home, I got sick. Like the next day, I was sick and I had like really bad congestion and a cough. It was mostly like a chest cold, and it's still lingering a bit, as you can hear. And it's embarrassing actually because I know the reason I got sick is because I work from home and I do not socialize enough. So when I traveled first on a plane there and back, I was exposing myself to a bunch of people. And then when I was like working in an office and in a city and then going to a game, and I also had a couple of drinks. So like I was just compromising my immune system. And gotta say, would not recommend it. Whatever is going around right now, it's ugly and it just lasted for a long time. And while I felt a lot better in the last like 2 or 3 days, I was still like coughing stuff up enough that going into public places, I felt a little bit nervous and a little bit like I didn't want to expose anybody because I was still coughing. And I never go to the doctor when I'm sick unless I'm like dying. And even then, even when I'm on my deathbed, I still don't go. So, yeah, that is what has been going on with me. I've also been reading a ton. So, in my next, maybe not my next episode, but at the end of the month, I'm going to do like a March wrap up and talk about all the things I have been watching, reading, listening to, all of that stuff. So, I'm very excited about that. So, look forward to that. On today's episode, though, I am covering a fun topic recommended to me by my friend Shelby, and it is the do's and don'ts of online dating. Now, in case you must know, I have some credentials in this realm. First of all, I'm 30 and I have used the dating apps probably since I was I want to say since I was 20 years old, so 10 years. And that's a long time. So I have been through so many evolutions of dating apps. But even before that, there was online dating. And I mean, there's always been, like, historically speaking, there's always been a type of dating like this. Like, people would put ads in the newspaper. Like, that is how my parents met. They met because my dad put an ad, a personal ad in the newspaper. So that was like a real old school version of this. And then there was Match and eHarmony and things like that. And Plenty of Fish and OkCupid were websites before they were ever apps. So I have seen all of that. I had been on, I don't know, I must have been 18, maybe even younger. I had been on a website called like Meet Me. And then there was like a ranking website and people would meet on there. And like, that's how people met to like hook up and stuff. But I've been using the dating apps since I was 20 years old. And I know what you're thinking. Why would we listen to you if you've used the dating apps for that long and you're not in a relationship? I am, first of all. I do have a boyfriend and I met him on Hinge. And I have had several successful relationships by meeting people on dating apps. So just because I've been single for so long doesn't mean that I was unsuccessful. I just hadn't found the right person. So if you're thinking that just because I was single for all that time, I wasn't. I was single for a lot of my 20s, but I did have a boyfriend for 2 years from the time that I was 24 to 26, I think. And we met on Bumble. We had a decent relationship and an amicable breakup. He was like a good person. So I have met good people on dating apps. I've also met insane people on dating apps. So I'm not like by any means advocating that there are like the guys on dating apps are good. No, they're not. And I would say like each app that is in circulation right now is good for different reasons. And I think that's like widely known throughout the single community. And I guess I will just say here, I'm primarily talking about heterosexual dating because I have never dated women and I'm not a man, so I don't know what it's like to attract attention from other men. So I can't talk on male relationships. What am I trying to say? I'm not a gay man, so I can't speak on gay relationships. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm speaking on heteronormative, heterosexual relationships because that's what I know about. And I know about attracting cis men, to be perfectly frank. Aside from the longer relationship I had in my 20s, I've also had several shorter relationships. I have met people in person and I have met people online, and I can say they are equally okay and equally shitty. So, if you want a funny story about meeting a guy online, I have one for you. I have several, actually. So more recently, when I moved to Santa Barbara, one of the first guys that I like had any kind of dating relationship with was from Ventura, and he had just moved there. And this is actually kind of a crazy story. We matched and he was really cute. He was like a military guy. I thought he was really cute. I knew he looked short from his pictures, but I like short guys. So like I had no issue with that. And I even purposely wore like the flattest shoes I have, Converse, so that in case he was my height, I wouldn't be any taller than him. And when I showed up, that man was shorter than me. And I had never dated anybody shorter than me before. I had dated guys who were as tall as me, maybe 1 inch taller than me, but never someone shorter. He was probably, honest to God, 5'4", and I am 5'6". So maybe he was 5'5", maybe. Like with a nice chunky shoe on. But he was definitely shorter than me. And we dated for, I don't know, a month and a half, maybe 2 months. So our first date was like 7 hours long. And then our second date, it was like dumping rain. And we were like walking outside and it just randomly like was storming on top of us. So that was like just such a bad omen, I think. And then our third date, he like came over to my house afterwards. And when he left around like 10 o'clock, and it was like a Thursday night, and on his way back to Ventura, which is usually like a 30-minute drive, he got into a horrific car accident. He had to be extracted from the car, and it caused him like so many physical issues. Like he wasn't necessarily injured, but he did get really bad whiplash, and he had a neck brace, and he had like nerve problems after that. And like that physical stuff ended up leading to us like not dating anymore. That and other things, I think we just weren't that compatible. But yeah, that's like a wild story of meeting a guy on a dating app. Like he just, guys never put their height. I made an Instagram reel about this, and I will post it in relationship to this episode, but guys are never honest about their height on dating apps. I guess this is my first do and don't but I will get into all of them. But guys never are honest. They're just never honest about their height. A good rule of thumb is that if they're under 6 foot, just subtract 1 to 2 inches. If he says he's 5'11", he's 5'9". If he says he's 5'10", he's 5'9". If he says he's 5'9", he's probably 5'8". If he says he's 5'8", he may or may not be 5'8", but he could be 5'7". If he says he's 5'7", he's 5'5", okay? Believe me. If he says he's 5'7", he's between 5'5" and 5'6". Believe me. If he says he's 6 foot, he's probably 5'11". If he says he's anything over 6 foot, he's probably not lying because they don't have a reason to lie. If he says he's over 6'5", 6'5" and taller, we have no business talking to them if we are under 5'10". That is my opinion, and I stand by it. I'm going to stand by it because I have never met a 6'5" and up who wasn't a whore. Okay. I'm not trying to be mean, but that's the honest to God truth. So that's my first, I guess, don't of dating apps. Like, men, don't lie about your height. Just be honest, because we don't want to show up and feel lied to. We don't want to show up in like shoes that have a platform and be taller than you and then feel like you lied to us. Like, sure, there are some people who are very superficial and they really care about height, and I think that's stupid, but like, yes, that is reality. So why not be honest? Attract the women who want to be with you. Stop trying to attract any woman and tricking her by lying to her. Why don't we just try to attract the people who want to be with us? I think that is such a great piece of dating advice, if I do say so myself. But let's get into it. Do's and don'ts. The first thing, before I start all that, the first thing you have to do before downloading and making a profile on a dating app is you need to know what you are looking for. And let me be abundantly clear, despite what is on these apps, like Hinge gives you 5 options, there are not 5 options. There are 2 options. 2. You either are looking for a serious relationship or you are looking for something casual. Okay? That's it. That's it. If you're figuring it out, you're looking for something casual. If you're not sure what your dating style is, you're looking for something casual. If you just want to hook up while you also date other women to try to find your wife, you're looking for something casual. Okay? That is what you need to figure out. It's okay either way. It's okay either way. But we want to attract the people who want to be with us. We don't need to trick people, okay? If you're like a decent person and you have a decent personality, you don't need to lie to people and say you're looking for something serious when you're not. And, you know, the thing is with that is I think like a lot of people might be looking for something serious. And I've been here, okay? Been looking for something serious. You go on a few dates with somebody. The chemistry is just not there. You don't really see a long-term future. So you kind of pivot and you're like, well, I guess because we've already been on a couple dates, I don't want to just feel like this was a waste of time. So then you sleep with them and then that's it. Or you have like a casual sexual relationship with them continuously and it's just something casual. That's okay, but you have to be honest about it. Like if a person is dating you and they think that it's going somewhere serious, you need to be very upfront about that if you do not see that happening so that they get to have the choice in whether or not they want to continue doing whatever it is that you feel more comfortable with. So first thing is figure out what you want and be clear about it. Be clear if you're looking for a serious relationship and try to stick to that. going forward. If you're looking for a serious relationship and you have one of those situations where you just don't see a future with somebody, maybe just don't sleep with them and move on, because your serious relationship will find you if you are looking for it. Second, before downloading the app, is try to make sure you have photos that are appropriate. And by this, I mean, don't download the app and then take a bunch of selfies. That is never going to be a good look. And I'm going to be real. These are mostly tips that are going towards men, because this is what I see. I don't often see women who have strictly selfies, but I don't see a lot of women's dating profiles, to be perfectly fair. So you shouldn't just have all selfies. That's what I'm trying to say. You need to have photos that show your personality a little bit. And if you don't have those, you need to get creative. And I don't mean, please, for the love of God, do not use AI. Don't use AI photos. They're just weird, and it's not what you look like, okay? I know it's what you want to look like, but you don't. And it's just super weird. Nobody likes it. So don't use AI photos. Get creative in the sense that, if one of your hobbies is drawing, then post a picture of some of your art. Don't be weird about it, though. One picture. Don't make it all that. Don't make it all pictures of your car, okay? Don't be weird about it. Just one picture like that. You are allowed to have 1 to 2 pictures that do not include your physical presence in them. You're allowed to have 1 to 2. That's it. Any more than that, and it's weird, okay? And in that scenario, you have to have at least 5 pictures. You can't have only 2 pictures and they're both not of you, okay? Let's be clear. We need to know what you look like. Have a picture of yourself smiling, a genuine smile, okay? Everybody looks better when they are giving a genuine smile. And a picture with your friends or your family, a picture with a pet, things like that. Think about what you enjoy doing and post a picture of that. If you enjoy walking in nature, take a picture of the trail that you walk on and post that. The photos are meant to evoke conversation. So you want to try to choose photos that do that. So that was before downloading. Once you download the app, my biggest tip is do try to curate your profile. Try to do your best to show your personality. And if you're silly, make sure you have a silly picture on there. If you have a pet that you spend a lot of time with, post a picture of your pet. Do what you can to post things that are going to evoke questions, especially, or comments. The example of the nature thing. If you post a picture of your nature walk, it makes people curious. So people are going to respond to that and say, where did you take that picture? Where is that? And you get to talk about it. Perfect, isn't it? And the main thing about it is just being true to yourself. And I know a lot of people struggle with this. They struggle with conveying themselves through photos and a bio and a prompt. And all I can say as far as that goes is use the tools that you have in your life. I think this is not a terrible place to use AI as a tool like ChatGPT. If you put into ChatGPT, I'm trying to write a dating profile that gets men's attention, and I like to walk on the beach and spend time with my dog, and I'm a lawyer, and I read a lot of books, and I like going to music concerts, and my favorite food place is Chipotle. And maybe it can spit something out that's really good for you. Just give it some of that stuff, and it might be able to give you a good bio. And that can just give you ideas. You don't have to use it verbatim, but you can. But it might just give you ideas of how you would say something differently. And you can curate your profile going from there. Like, you should try to actually put some thought into it and put some effort into it, because this is like what people, this is their first impression of you. It really is. Like, you will meet and they will have another first impression of you in person, but it's what they're going to rely on while they talk to you until they meet you. So put things in there that you would be proud for them to like show a friend, you know? It's not just a highlight reel, but it is a highlight reel, you know? So it doesn't have to be all like perfect airbrushed photos. Every photo you have like a full beat or something like that. It's like only when you're going out. Like, you should also include photos of different phases of what you look like, you know? Like, maybe not a selfie of like what you look like first thing in the morning, but like when you're hanging out with your family on Christmas Day or something like that. Like, just try to show your personality as best you can, and just think about the things that make you you and try to convey them through like photos and your bio. Now, the next thing that I would say you must do on dating apps, especially the ones that have them, which is all of them now, but it's use the prompts. Use the prompts. They are there to help you. And Hinge does a really good job of this, of like recommending a good balance of what prompts to use, because I tend to notice that people use a lot of the like about me prompts, like my perfect Sunday is, and then they list a bunch of shit, and then the next one is like my favorite sushi spot in town, and like it's just a bunch of stuff about themselves, and there are other categories. Like, so try to use the different categories, and if you can't, I would just try to use the ones that you like in a different way to try to convey different things about yourself. You don't want to just list all the things that you like. Like, you want to try to evoke a response. You don't want to put all the work on the person responding to your profile. So a big part of this is using the prompts to your advantage, and on top of that, asking a question. Putting a question on your profile is the surefire way to get people to send you good messages. I saw this on a TV show once. It was Aziz Ansari, Master of None. And his number one thing that he did, his first message to every girl on a dating app was like, hey, I'm going to the grocery store. Can I pick anything up for you? Like, you could just steal that. Just steal it and put it on your profile. Just steal it and put it right there and say, like, heading to the grocery store, what can I get you? Everybody is going to jump on that. It's going to be like flies to sugar. Like, it is just the easiest thing to get people to respond. And that's why Hinge is so great, because yes, you can just send a like, but the way to get people's attention is to send a message. So you want to have things on your profile that get people to send you a message. And when I still have a screen recording of my Hinge profile, and I think it kind of has examples of all of these things, but I did have a question on there. It was like, the prompt was something like, I don't know, I said something about traveling, and my question was, where should I go next? And everybody has something to say about this. Like, they just do. Anybody who likes to travel will talk forever about where they've gone and where they're going, and it is so simple. Like, recommend a good sushi spot in town for me. Anything. It's so easy, and it gets the conversation started without having to put a lot of effort in. So, and you open the door for people to do that. Like, it is not just a list of all these things. Like, I like surfing, and I like snowboarding, and I like dogs, and I like going to pizza. Like, and then they have to like figure something out based on that. Just give them something. Just give it to them. You want people to want to talk to you. So you want to just give them something sometimes. So put a question on there. The other thing was the first message. So when it comes to the first message, There's usually not a wrong way to do this, in my opinion. The only wrong way is to start out immediately sexual. Don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that. But as far as like starting out with just a hey or a question or a response to their profile, I don't think there's any wrong way. I think all of those options are good and I can talk about each one. But I think the most important thing to me is to keep it short. I always hated getting a first message that was like a paragraph long. Like, what are we doing? What do we do? I'm not here to read an essay from you. I'm not. And that is just my advice for like messaging on the apps or messaging with a person before you've met them in general. Keep it short. You do not need to be having pages long conversations. You just don't. And I am not trying to throw shade. I have been a victim of this and a perpetrator of this. I have fallen into this trap where people just want to write and write and write. And you want to be a nice person, so you write back. And the conversation's good, so you keep it going. Like, just, you have to exercise some willpower in those situations and just keep it short. Keep it short in two ways. The actual words you use shouldn't be more than 3 sentences, ever. Your first message probably shouldn't be more than 1. And also keep it short in the sense of like, do not prolong the texting conversation for more than a week. Those are the 2 ways you got to keep it short. I want to go into the first message a little bit deeper as far as how to do it. If you're in a situation where you're responding to somebody's profile and you can't think of anything to say in response to their pictures or their prompts or their bio, or you're just a little too nervous or whatever it is, and all you want to say is hey, perfectly fine. I did this so often, but the one thing that I did to make it stand out a little bit was I always added an emoji. I would always say hey with the wave emoji. And it just like it's simple, but it's also like inviting, I think. So I think it's a simple way to catch their attention a little bit more than like somebody else who might only be saying hi. The other thing that I did, which I think is a little bit more creative, is I would always say howdy, which, if you don't think I actually say it, I do have a sticker right here that says howdy. So I do say howdy. I would say howdy with the wave emoji or with the cowboy emoji. And I think that was just a way to get people's attention. That was really creative and sweet and short and to the point, and it's just simple, like very simple. The next thing after that, I would recommend, if you are not responding to a prompt, like if they have not posed a question on their profile, then you should pose a question. Pick something on their profile and just ask a question about it. Even if you don't fucking care, just ask a question about it. Like if they're wearing a hat with something on it, say, are you a fan of that team? Chances are they are. And they're going to be like, yeah, do you watch football? And then you've started a conversation. Look at that. Ask any question. Something like, where did you take that photo is such a simple, easy question. And it works for anybody who has got a picture. Hi, mama. Who's got a picture of like a scenic view. And it's simple. Like, if they live near you, like the next follow-up is like, oh, I'll have to check that out sometime. Maybe we can go together. Like, it's so simple to just take that step. Oh, Zoe, I didn't mean to scare you. My doggy needs some attention right now. So I'm giving her some pets. Now I've lost my train of thought. Ask a question. Any question. I swear you just can't go wrong. Like, well, maybe you can, but if you're just charming about it, just be confident about it, it'll be okay, you know? If they don't see it as silly, goofy, funny, if you say something weird, then they're not the person for you. That's simple as that. So ask a question. The third prong is responding to a question on their profile. Keep it short. Say something short and to the point. If their question is like, what's your favorite thing to do on the weekends? Or like, what's your perfect weekend look like? Do not send them a paragraph of information. Just send something short and sweet. What is your perfect weekend? A quiet day by myself, or snowboarding in Tahoe, or I love taking my dog to the beach, or I love taking a day trip to blah, 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 or wine tasting. Like, just say something short. Don't write a whole ass paragraph. And I think that also kind of goes for what you put on your profile. If you're using the prompts, just try not to make it so long. Like, every single time someone used the prompt of like my perfect Sunday looks like, they just listed so many things like coffee from Handlebar, and then walk on the beach for 20 minutes and do a cold plunge, maybe read a book, sit by the fire. Like, and it's such a long list of things. And yes, it does give people the opportunity to have a lot of things to respond to, but I just think it's easier to not put it all out on the table and leave some things to conversation. Like, you want to leave some things to be discussed when you actually speak to that person, whether it's in your first text conversation or your first date. So that's my opinion. Different things work for different people. I think for me, keeping it short and to the point is the best way to do it. And that kind of leads to the next thing of like keeping it short in the sense of don't let the conversation go on for too long. You should maybe have a couple days of getting to know each other and seeing if the vibe is right before one of you says, hey, would you want to meet up this weekend? Are you free on Saturday? I know that that is scary. And for some reason, women don't want to do this. They don't want to be the ones to ask. They don't want to be the ones to send the first message. They don't want to be the ones to initiate the conversation. They just don't. And I just think like you need to get over that. Anybody who feels that way just needs to get over that, because you have an opportunity to make something that is great for you. And if you like somebody, stick your freaking neck out a little bit, because your opportunity is going to fly right past you if you don't actually try at all. I think it's really important to also ask for what you want. Show the universe what you want. Like, you want this guy, you think he's hot, you think you would be compatible together. You don't even have to ask, like, would you want to hang out this weekend? You can just ask, what are you up to this weekend? And that could lead them to telling you whatever it is. And if they have any free time, then you could say, like, oh, I'll be free that day too. You don't even, like, just guide them. Guide them to what you want from them. It can be very simple. I know it's hard to think about sometimes because rejection is scary. I get that. But here's the thing. The more you go through it, the easier it gets, because you start to realize the people who reject you, they are not the one for you. And they are not the person that the universe is sending to you. They are not the person who has been waiting for you. And you don't want to be with somebody who doesn't want to be with you. I didn't make this up. It's a very popular phrase, but it's not rejection, it's redirection. It's a sign. Take it as a blessing. If somebody is not showing interest in you, take it as a blessing to continue on a path of trying to find the person who is right for you. I say that, and I know it's easier said than done. Like, believe me, I spent almost all of last year hung up on a guy who could not give two shits about me. And I had to drill it. I had it written on my mirror over here. I am not pursuing anyone who's not pursuing me. You have an ocean of options. You do. It's not rejection, it's redirection. Just take it as a sign that they are not the person for you and you can move forward. If you are messaging somebody on a dating app and you ask them, hey, would you want to hang out this weekend? And they say, like, I'm not free, but maybe next weekend. Get a plan on the books and do not continue talking to them. That is where you have to draw the line, because there's just a vicious cycle on these dating apps of you talk to somebody for too long, you never meet, and then you stop talking to them and they just sit in your inbox, and then you just never speak to them again. And you go through the cycle of maybe deleting everybody or deleting the app entirely and re-downloading it. Just be diligent about if you really want to meet somebody, make it a point to meet them within 2 weeks. Like, do not let the conversation go on any longer than that. Believe me, I have gotten caught in these text relationships that are just nothing. And I had a man last year text me for 2 months, and we also had like phone calls and stuff. I would ask him to hang out like every 2 weeks, and he always had an excuse, and it was always a tummy ache. So, like, of course there was more to it, but like it was always a tummy ache. Like, it was always that he was having digestive problems. But he was like well enough to drive to Santa Barbara to pick somebody up at the airport, and he was well enough to go on long walks in his neighborhood. So just take it as a sign. If they don't want to meet up with you, they are not looking for the same thing that you are. If all you're looking for is a text conversation, by all means, keep your pen pal. Continue talking to them and developing a deep personal relationship over text messages. That's great. There is nothing wrong with that, unless you want an actual relationship. That's not a real relationship. That's not something that will ever turn into a marriage unless you meet, unless you take extra steps from that point. If you're on these dating apps, you probably don't need a pen pal. That's what I'll say. If you're looking for a pen pal, there's plenty of prisoners who would love to talk to a beautiful woman. Okay? And they're nice guys in there, you know? Drug sales ain't all that bad. I'll say that. I think the other pieces of advice I have are not specific to dating apps. They're just dating advice. But I think it's important to exercise these on dating apps as well. And that is to be vulnerable and be open about how you're feeling. You have to be vulnerable on these apps. You have to like show a little bit of maybe your weird side. I think it's so important to just be human. And like some people on the apps just think it's like this, it is like a highlight reel and they can't show any of their like goofy side. I just think it's so important to show who you truly are, and like it really opens people up to be vulnerable to you. That is what builds bonds between people, is vulnerability and being open and accepting other people in their vulnerable states so that they can accept you. And like it's all reciprocated emotions, and it's so important to let yourself be open to that kind of thing. And then also be honest about how you're feeling. If you meet up with somebody and you go on a date and you are not really feeling a connection, then just tell them that. You don't have to say it to their face. You don't have to like be mean about it or blunt about it or anything like that. Like maybe they're feeling like they want to go on another date, so you give them your phone number and then they ask you on another date. I know it's tough, but just draft a simple message that says something along the lines of like, hey, you're a really nice guy. I just didn't really feel a connection, so I don't think we should go on another date, but I wish you the best of luck. And I guarantee, like 9 times out of 10, if not more, like 99 times out of 100, the person on the other side of that text is going to be so grateful you sent that. They're going to be so grateful you didn't leave them hanging, that they weren't like holding on to a shred of hope that you might hit them up again. Like, just be real about it. And if you're somewhere in between, you liked them, but you're not sure if they're the right person, just go on another date with them. If you like them enough on the first date, just go on another date with them. See if there's more to them that might engage you more. And if there's not, then you send them a text. After that date, if they want to hang out again, you just say, you're a great guy, blah, 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 And just continuously be open. I had a hard time with this for a long time. I just had a hard time being honest about what I was looking for and continuing to date people who I wasn't really interested in, or not being on the same page with someone who wanted a relationship and things like that. And even up to this relationship, after my first date with my current boyfriend, I wasn't sure I was gonna be in a relationship with him. I was he seemed cool, we had really great conversation, I would go on another date with him. And then we went on another date and another date, and I was still on the fence. We were 5 or 6 dates deep, and I was dealing with some other stuff. I had work stuff going on. I was really stressed out. I was just dealing with a lot personally outside of what I had with him. And then I was also not sure about him. I was he seems really cool, and I like spending time around him. And every time we hang out, it's cool and we have a good time. But I just wasn't sure if there was that chemistry and that spark. And I was I don't know. And so I was real with him about it. I was hey, I'm not there yet. And I'm not at the girlfriend phase yet, because 5 or 6 dates is kind of at the point when you would start sleeping together, or talk about exclusivity. So I was just honest with him. I kind of just said, I am not at the girlfriend phase. I am still dating other people. I want to keep dating you. I like you a lot. I'm not there yet. And that was fine. And he was fine with it. And I'll just repeat it again. If that happens and you say something like that to somebody and they respond in a bad way, in a negative way, they are not the right person for you. They have shown you who they are. If I had said that to my boyfriend and he had said, before he was my boyfriend, and he had said, well, I'm not okay with that. I want to get into a relationship. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not okay with you seeing other people, so it's me or no one else. I would have just been okay, well, I'm dating other people, so bye. He wouldn't have been the right person for me. I needed somebody who was going to be patient with me and be able to understand where I was coming from, and just be real about what it is you're struggling with, So that's my do's and don'ts of online dating. The last thing is that I would do a whole episode on dating advice, and I can do more. But my 3 biggest pieces of dating advice, and I can talk more about them, but I'm just going to keep it short because we're getting up on time here. But my 3 biggest pieces of dating advice is to date sober, date celibate, and really focus on only pursuing people who are pursuing you. And I promise, if you do that for a year and you don't get into a relationship that is healthy and good for you, then you can leave me a hate comment. I promise I will not take it personally. It's okay. But those are my pieces of advice, and I would love to talk more about them. But that will have to be for another time. Right now, it's quiz time. So we're going to do our quiz. Okay, this quiz is called Machu Picchu, Pizza, and Edgar Allan Poe. So we know right off the bat there's going to be a geography question that I'm probably not going to get right. All right, first question. Machu Picchu is located in what country? Believe it or not, I know the answer to this. The options are Peru, Brazil, Honduras, and Chile. And the answer is Peru. Look at me go. All right, second question. In the TV show The Simpsons, what is Moe's last name? The options are Van Houten, Sislak, Flanders, and Wiggum. Flanders was the neighbor. And Mo was the bartender, I think. I'm going to skip that question and come back to it. Okay. Next question is, what herb is traditionally found on a margarita pizza? The options are basil, thyme, rosemary, and oregano. And the answer is basil. Question 4. Edgar Allan Poe famously wrote a poem that shared its name with which bird? The options are a raven, a crow, a dove, a squab. And that would be a raven. Question 5. How many signs are there in the zodiac? The options are 8, 10, 12, and 14. It's 12. Question 6. Which Disney movie is the song You'll Be in My Heart from? You'll be in my heart. Okay, the options are Tarzan, The Jungle Book, Hercules, and Pinocchio. It's not The Jungle Book. I'm like, is it Tarzan or Hercules? I think it's Tarzan. Yeah, baby. Question 7? Question mark? What sort of electricity do you get when you rub two balloons and they stick together? The options are static, current, tension, and frictional. Static? Yeah. Trip me up there with frictional. Okay. Question 8. Who painted the Sistine Chapel? The options are Giovanni Bellini, Michelangelo, Gian Bernini, and Donatello. I'm like pretty sure it's Michelangelo. Look at me go. Okay, I have one more, and it's the Simpsons question. So I'm going to return to that. Mo's last name. Okay, I'm going to be real. I'm going between Van Houten and Wiggum. Mo Wiggum. Mo Van Houten. I'm going to say Van Houten. Frick. It was Sislak? I don't know how to say that. Szyslak. Mo Zilslak. I don't know. I got 7 out of 8 though. That's not bad. That's not bad. Well, thank you everybody for being here and tuning in, and thank you for waiting so patiently. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to like, rate it 5 stars, subscribe, leave a comment. Definitely leave a comment if there's anything you want me to talk about. If you want more dating stories, if you want more dating advice. Again, I have slews of dating advice. I am a dating expert. I have so many crazy dating stories I would love to share. So yeah, leave a comment down below. Check out my Instagram profile. It's clevergirl_podcast. Just subscribe and be here next time. And I love you so much. Okay, bye.